Good afternoon, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. This is Rich again, back for your second video blog of the day for Saturday, September 20th, 2014, around 4:30 p.m. in Belleville, Massachusetts. Been battling some sun and clouds today. Highs close to 70, and tomorrow we're going to reach 80, and for the last official day of summer, and then next week will be probably a little bit above average temperatures in the 70s. Get out and to enjoy it, because I'm hearing we could have a brutal winter here in the Northeast. Some news to report: the Boston College football team beat Maine by the score of 40-10 at the Heights at Chestnut Hill. And also, former NBA player Rex Chapman is alleged for stealing over $14,000 worth of Apple equipment after he was faking using the self-checkout app on his iPhone. If this is true, why would he steal $14,000 worth of merchandise? He has the money. He probably has a lot of money, but you never know about these athletes, how much money they squander with stuff and stuff like that. And also a bit of history. 37 years ago today was the infamous Happy Days episode when Fonzie jumped the shark. And that jump the shark means when a television show has reached its peak, they say it's jump the shark. Yeah, we won't jump the shark here. Okay, and that's about it. My next subject is about a classic television game show called Classic Concentration. Classic Concentration ran from May 4th, 1987 through September 20th, 1991, with first run episodes on NBC, and for the next 2 years, reruns ran into December 31st, 1993. The game was hosted by Alex Trebek of Jeopardy fame, and the prize models were, for the first 2 months, was Diana Taylor, and she was replaced in July of 1987 by Marjorie Goodson Cutt. Marjorie was the daughter of the producer of Classic Concentration, Mark Goodson, and the announcer was Gene Wood, who was basically the Goodson-Todman primary announcer for many years on several of the game shows and stuff like that. And Classic Concentration was based out of the Concentration, which ran for many years, first on NBC from 1958 through 1973. In the daytime, it was hosted by Hugh Downs for many years, and then Bob Clayton, and it was played with 30 pieces of a puzzle. You had to solve a puzzle. It was a rebus, and back then it was manual how they pulled the numbers, and they went minor prizes, gag gifts, takes one gift, forfeit one gift, and stuff like that. And this, the Concentration version on back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s on NBC, was basically a champion facing off against a challenger, and after they won, they faced new challenges until the champion was defeated, or they won 15 times, which after the 15th time they retired as champion. It was the longest running game show on NBC daytime, lasting 14 and a half years. And then in September 1973, Concentration rights were leased to Goodson-Todman production, and so they moved it to Hollywood, and it was syndicated from 1973 through 1978, hosted by Jack Nas, which basically was the same, but they kind of added a bonus round called Double Play, where they had to solve 2 puzzles within 10 seconds for a prize, which could be trips or a brand new car, and it was pretty successful. And Mark Goodson decided to try to revive Concentration in 1985. He had 2 pilots. It was hosted by longtime game show panelist Orson Bean, and it was basically like Classic Concentration, but instead of prizes, they had a match. What would go together? Say Batman, and you know what that goes with? Robin, or this. Deep Patel. Last week, no bus. We got the idea. These 2 and when they solved the puzzle, they would go on to the bonus round, which was matching prizes with 7 there were 7 prizes and an 8th prize, but the 8th prize did not match anything, so that would confuse them. They would have 50 seconds to match as many prizes as they want. If they matched all 7 prizes, they won a $5,000 bonus, but every prize within 50 seconds. But if they did not win, if they did not get all 7 prizes, they kept what prize that was matched. But both of those pilots didn't sell, so 1987 comes around. NBC has revives Classic Concentration, and actor comedian Ray Combs did a run-through of hosting Classic Concentration, trying to host it, but it went to Alex Trebek. This is how the main game was played. There were 25 spaces on a computer-generated board. They reduced it from 30 to 25, and it was off days, and contestants matched prizes. Usually it was trips, and also household products, electronics, etc. There was cash pot, which started at $500 and $500 and $100 each time it was a match, or 5 bonus car seconds that was usually in the second round, and other prizes. And they also had takes, but those came in towards, maybe first take came in around the late 1987, the green take, and then March 1988, the red take. And there were 3 wild cards, and matching, if you got a wild card, it was an automatic match with anything on the board. Sometimes if you matched 2 wild cards, you get $500, or if you matched all 3 wild cards, you would get a $1,000 bonus, provided if you won the game. But there was some rounds where, especially the second round, they would add an extra prize, but as a consequence, they would take away the wild card. And they would play the game until they got the puzzle right. And usually when they got the puzzle right, it's a rebus. Alex Trebek would usually explain how they solved the puzzle. That happened for about a year and a half, but eventually he let the contestants solve the puzzle and stuff like that. Say if the puzzle was Dr. Sharkey, they would say a dock boating, the dock's boating, and then plus tour, it's a rip, tour, shark, they'll have a shark, plus key, they would have a key, Dr. Sharkey. You get the idea. And after they would win it, they would play the bonus round for a brand new car. They would have 8 cars, 7 match, 1 didn't match, which was that could confuse players. They started at a base time at 35 seconds, and each time the final car they matched, they would win it. And usually they won't win in 35 seconds, so they added 5 extra seconds each time the car to get the car until they won it. And usually it was pretty good. Lots of people won cars and stuff. And they had the format of it was the first from the premiere in May of 1987 through July 1st, 1988, the format was this: contestants could stay on the game as much as 5 times, and they could win as much cars if they wanted. They could have won up to 5 cars, but it would take 35 seconds, and sometimes that would be difficult, or they would get defeated. But they would come back if the second game was interrupted, because sometimes they would run out of time and they would ring the bell, and that would be an interrupted game. And sometimes the interrupted games was kind of they brought a lot of contestants back when they had the interrupted game. So they changed the format from that started on July 4th, 1988 through June 29th, 1990, which was a 2 out of 3 game. Usually the first 2 segments was the first game, and the third segment would be the second game, and if there was a tie, they would go to the third and final puzzle, which they would have to reveal 1 letter at a time because we're running short on time. And that was, and the champion would stay on until they won a new car. And then they changed the format again from July 2nd, 1990 through the end, which is September 20th, 1991. The winning contestants could stay on until they won a car, or they lost 2 games. I really didn't like that format with the two games, losing the strikes 2 games. I kind of liked the format with like 2 out of 3, but I think maybe they didn't like the 2 out of 3 because sometimes the second game was interrupted and they had so many ties, and then they had to get like the third one in speeding up and stuff. From time to time, the Classic Concentration would have special weeks like Sweethearts Week or College Week, or in 1989 and 1990 they had a Tournament of Champions where they had the contestants with the fastest time with winning a car would come back on the tournament, which they would play, and they would have like win another car, fastest turn in the fastest time, and whoever won the fastest time in those tournaments won $25,000, which was pretty good. And Classic Concentration was on at 10:30 each morning on NBC for 4.25 years. The last Classic Concentration episodes, they didn't even acknowledge it was the last show because, there was an assumption it would be renewed, but NBC decided not to produce any more like Classic Concentration episodes. They would let it rerun various times during the morning times on NBC, but a lot of stations preempted for syndicated programming, and sometimes it wouldn't be shown in a certain market, or it would be picked up by an independent television station. I know WBZ Channel 4 in Boston, which was the NBC affiliate back when Classic Concentration ran, always ran Classic Concentration, even if it was in the afternoons and stuff like that. And actually the reruns of Classic Concentration for 2 years got even higher ratings when Concentration was on the air, Classic Concentration. I think there was a push in early 1993 to revive Classic Concentration for new episodes on NBC, and it was going to be hosted by Alex Trebek again, but somehow it just didn't come to be, and Classic Concentration has not been shown on the air in the United States since December 31st, 1993. There's been rumors GSN, when they first first went on the air, they tried to get reruns of Classic Concentration, but NBC refused it because they own the right to Classic Concentration. Even though they leased it to Mark Goodson and Bill Todman, they still owned Classic Concentration rights, and they said no way. And several times over the years GSN has asked them, and they said no way, we can't do that, we won't allow, because I think they would have to pay a royalty fee to NBC, and I doubt we'll ever see Classic Concentration reruns on GSN until somehow NBC drops their demands for like the leasing, or somehow NBC Universal buys into the game show network, which we probably will not see. Could we see like reruns of Classic Concentration on like Cozy TV, which is NBC owned and produced? I doubt it, because they would have to do a lot of editing and stuff, but you never know. And I think Classic Concentration could be revived one of these days, maybe on NBC as a primetime show or a syndicated show. Probably do the same 25, like board of 25 things, and have the wild cards and the prizes and stuff, and probably would have to get a new host because Alex Trebek's busy with Jeopardy, and plus I think a game show host cannot host 2 shows in syndication. That's about it on that. I'll be back later for my third and final video blog of the night, which will be about a personality profile, Michael Felger. Good afternoon, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. See you later, friends.